flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Pleasure of the committee.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Motion by Mr. Demotica. A second. Second by Mr. Fiorello. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion carries 4-0 with Mrs. Teal, Mr. Salvatore, and Mr. Denon absent this evening. Note that for the record. Next item on the agenda is a consent agenda, approval of minutes, regular meeting 3/12/2015, 3/16/2015, 3/16/2015, approval of minutes, executive session 3/12 and 3/16, and the 3/16 ones were in your packet this evening. Pleasure of the committee on the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Mr. Fiorello. Second. Second by Mr. Duffy. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries 4-0. Report out of executive session meeting from 3/26. That was this evening. There were no votes taken. I need a vote to seal the minutes of the executive session. Motion by Mr. Demotica. Second by Mr. Duffy. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries 4-0. Next item on the agenda is superintendent's report. Mr. Mitchell, we have Cumberland High School Personalized Learning Grant.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Let me just share this one thing. It was actually in a recent, the most recent Commissioner's Field memo, and I think it provides a nice summary of this personalized learning grant that was, it was a competitive grant that was awarded to the high school. So if I may just read this brief summary to you. The New England Secondary School Consortium and the Great Schools Partnership have selected 4 Rhode Island secondary schools to participate in a new initiative that will help them develop personalized learning experiences that address the district learning needs, interests, and aspirations of individual students. Over the coming years, the Great Schools Partnership will provide each school with a team of school improvement specialists or school coaches who will help school leaders and teachers implement their plans. Congratulations to the 4 Rhode Island schools selected to participate in this initiative: the Allen Shawn Feinstein Middle School of Coventry, Central Falls High School, Cumberland High School, and Pontiac High School, which is located in Foster, Gloucester. Alan Tenrero, Jesse Butash, and Adolfo Costa. I know that at least the 3 of those are actually involved in a 2-day training related to this grant and the work that they're going to be focusing on. We've all had an opportunity to hear Mr. Costa and at times I believe Mr. Tenrero do presentations on some of their plans, which include that bridge program. And this particular grant is over, I believe it's a 3-year grant, and on several occasions the coach that is working with Cumberland High School, they've already been spending time with that person, so they're getting a lot of good work done. So this is exciting. It was a competitive grant, and congratulations to the high school for their good work and their innovative ideas on how to personalize the learning experience for all students.
Mr. Mitchell, do you know if the bridge program will be in effect over this school year, this summer, or do you know if it's next?
You know, I believe they want to get it up and running this summer. I think that's the goal. I'm not exactly sure, but I believe that the goal is to get it started this summer.
That's true.
Perfect.
It's in the
Thank
budget for the summer.
Perfect, thank you. That's fantastic news. Thanks for sharing that. And let's see, next item, we're going to hold off on the growth mindset discussion. I know Mrs. Teal wants to participate, and because she could not attend this evening, we'll hold off on that, so it gives you an extra week to read up to through and including chapter 4. Next item on the agenda is chairperson's report, funding formula, and the BEP. I want to thank our school committee colleagues in Lincoln, North Smithfield, North Providence, and Cherahogue for approving a resolution similar to the resolution that Cumberland passed with regard to the moratorium on charter expansion and growth until the funding formula is fixed to provide equity and fairness for all children. In addition, the Woonsocket Budget Board provided a statement that it's submitting to the Department of Education and the Board of Education regarding Halding Charter School expansion until the state funding formula is fixed. They advised the Department of Ed that the city could lose a net total of $2.4 million on funding by 2010 if the two proposed charter school growth are permitted. 2020? Oh, sorry about that. Yes, thank you. And the Funding Commission will be completing its task of 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they are drafting recommendations from the House subcommittee, so I anticipate that that draft will be available within the next few weeks. That's all. Any questions? No. Next item on the agenda, report of standing committee, payment of bills. Mr. DeMonica.
Madam Chair, Finance did meet on March 19th and March 24th. There were no payment bills.
Spectacular. And fiscal management subcommittee update?
And we did meet on March 19th. We discussed the budget that was submitted by Dr. Thornton, and we had some questions in regards to some interventionists in the elementary schools, and I'd like to thank Town Councilor Schmidt for attending the meeting and having a frank discussion about the budget. That was on the 19th. No votes were taken then, and on the 24th, again, no payment of bills. We had some discussion about the pension with the business office. We again reviewed the superintendent's budget recommendations. We talked about getting an RFP for some cement work. We talked about lawn care for the district. Currently we have bids out for a couple of pieces of lawn equipment. And there is a possibility that the town may want to take it over, give us a quote to cut the grass, and they've asked for 2 weeks for that, to get some additional information to give us a price of what they would charge us. And last but not least was the school inspections. We asked to have that put on because we are getting cited for certain items in our schools, and Sedesco is going out to take care of those items that were very easy to take care of. And that was it, Madam Chair, for finance on the 24th. We are meeting again this coming Tuesday for finance to talk about the budget again at 5:30, and we are once again on April 2nd to have a special meeting about the budget as well. So the public would like to attend. Those 2 meetings are coming in next week.
So the budget meeting is 3:31 at 5:30 and 4:2 at 7:30?
7:30.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. Next item, policy and procedures. Committee update. Mr. Bureau.
Policy and procedures did not meet this week. We will be meeting April 6th, 2 weeks from now.
Thank you.
And we will have the G6 policy wrapped up by then.
Excellent. Next item, Achievement and Communication Subcommittee update. We did meet on Tuesday. We met with Garvin School to talk a little bit about their school profile and the achievement activities that they've experienced since the new curriculum that's been in place, as well as some changes that components that they've added. And Mr. Mitchell, you might be able to provide a real high-level summary of some of the curricular changes. But what I'll say is it was quite impressive to see the gap closure that's occurring in the lower 2 levels for that school. Pretty significant. They've been doing a wonderful job. What we acknowledged, though, was that the students who are not yet in the green group or the at grade level group or at level group, which would be classified more as the blue group, really were only relying on the classroom teacher for all of their intervention type activities, so it would be the regular instruction. What we're hoping to do is amend the budget that was presented by Dr. Thornton to provide some of that, some additional resources to that to be dedicated toward that group so that we could move more kids into the green group. I don't know if you want to add anything, Mr. Mitchell, about the curriculum changes.
Well, first of all, the gains that their students are making from the baseline assessment that they did in the fall to the most recent assessment that they've done this winter, those gains have been really impressive. And so, you know, we, in our conversation with the team that was presenting on Tuesday night, you know, they felt that a lot of the gains were connected to the new curricula, both in CKLA, which is the curriculum for ELA in grades K, 1, and 2, and expeditionary learning, which is the curriculum for grades 3, 4, and 5 in ELA, but also the new curriculum, the Eureka Math curriculum, which we've been hearing some really good things about over the last month or so. They feel strongly that the way that those curricula have been developed have had a positive impact on student performance. But I think the bigger issue is the responsiveness of that staff. As soon as students, you know, show any need in their learning, which they can really pinpoint with the STAR testing and other assessing that they're doing, they can really hone in on those areas of weakness for individual students, and they, I think, have done a fine job of using all of the different intervention programs that we have available to us to help those students. So really, they're really doing a nice job there in that school.
I think it might be helpful to make some of that presentation information available on the district website, only so that folks can see. It was a wonderful visual about how much things are changing, and the students that are requiring the most intervention are making good progress. In addition to that, what was shared by Mrs. Bassignani was the fact that 7 new students had arrived since January, and all of them required intervention level services. So they're able to be flexible, but understand the fact that their population has some level of transiency, so that as students are entering into the school, they're trying to be very dynamic about some of the needs that those students have.
You know, one of the things that we discussed also is the fact that they have an increasing ELL population as well. So they have their hands full, and the numbers of students in that school is increasing. They're up around, I believe it's close to 500 now. So they're busy, but I think they're doing an excellent job of responding to the needs of their students. And I was going to mention one other thing. Oh, I think perhaps we can post the PowerPoint, which has some really good information on the website.
Yeah. Agreed. Thank you. Next item, building committee updates. Mr. Fiorello.
The building committee has not met. In a couple of months, we will be probably meeting maybe next month or so, once we get our final report from our final stage 2 application. All set.
Terrific, thank you. Next item, public hearing, reading of policy. So G6 is not something on the agenda for any action tonight.
No, it will be
2 weeks, terrific. So we will take no action. And then next item on the agenda is comments from the public. Hearing none. Next item, old business. We will, again, no action on G6, and then no action on the lawn equipment. Is that correct, Mr. DeMonica? We're holding off on that for a couple of weeks.
Madam Chair, we're going to hold that off till our next meeting.
Excellent. Okay, and then finally, the update on the BEP budget gap. Mr. Brignano, is that something that you'll be speaking with us about this evening?
I hadn't planned on it.
Oh, all right, I guess it's going to be a very quick meeting.
Wow.
So we did receive handouts on that at our last meeting. I think it was in our folder, and it's clear that the budget gap is it is growing. I will say that the House Education Panel, one of the members did ask for information from the Department of Ed that did reference how the core amount was calculated, but the expenses that were not core, and whether or not there was an adequacy in funding. So I'll be looking forward to that information. And it was for all schools, all districts, all schools. Next item, new business, schedule of fiscal 16 school budget meetings. So as Mr. DeMonica noted, we will have a meeting on 3/31 at 5:30 and 4/2 at 7:30. Mr. Mitchell, do we have anything else to add to that? Mr. Monahan?
I'm sure that we're actually, on Tuesday the 31st, we're fiscal meeting at 5:30 in the Cumberland School Committee, to have a special budget meeting at 6:30.
All right.
And then we'll have the meeting on Thursday, April 2nd, 7:30 p.m.
Thank you. Next item, personnel, discussion and or vote to approve homeschool instruction requests. Mr. Mitchell, are there any requests?
Yes, Madam Chair, there's
There is one, I recommend approval.
Motion by Mr. Demotica. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Duffy. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Those opposed? And that motion carries 4-0. Next item, personnel recommendations. Mrs. Fogel.
Good evening. I have one personnel recommendation for you. So I request the advice and consent of the school committee on the appointment of Melissa Johnson, junior varsity tennis coach for Cumberland High School, effective March 24th, 2015 through the remainder of the season. As is noted in your packet, Ms. Johnson is a teacher here at the high school. She has played tennis in the past. She's working for her certification. The varsity coach obviously intends to provide the instruction, but he needs more supervision. So she stepped up for us, but we had no one, and she's willing to go through the steps needed in order to help the program.
Do you know how long the certification will take?
It shouldn't, because she's already a certified teacher. It's really, I hope this is appropriate. It's really more of an application, and then I believe she has to go through CPR training and CPR and one other. There's 2 other trainings that they're required to have, and then she should have it. So she's actually working on it already.
Terrific. Thank you. Pleasure of the committee.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Motion by Mr. Demotica, second by Mr. Duffy. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to say thank you for stepping up.
I do have to say that there were several emails that went out to staff, district information, almost pleading, because the students they try and practice as a group. So we're really confident that the varsity coach will be able to give the appropriate instruction. He's a great tennis coach, but it was really more for supervision, for busing and things like that. It was wonderful of her to step up because they work a long day and then to have to. So we were very pleased.
Excellent. Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we do not have executive session this evening. Oh, I apologize. I was rushing to beat my record here. School committee comments, school liaison reports.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm moving on. All right. I appreciate you more.
All right. On March 18th, the Cumberland Special Education Advisory Committee had met. It was a great meeting. We had the acting director of special ed, Rachel Santo, came, and all the new coordinators for special education came to explain to the committee exactly how that new coordinator system is rolling out. Kathy Gibney was there, she's the preschool and elementary level coordinator at Ashton. Melissa Custer is the elementary level coordinator for B.F. Norton Community Schools, Cumberland Hill and the Garden. Kyle Santos for the middles, and Tammy Lemieux is the high school level coordinator. They gave a full presentation on how that model is working. They feel it's working very well. Special ed teachers are feeling like they're getting much more support now than was possible from a single deputy position. So that's working out really well. Also, they put together a final draft of a special education survey for parents to see just what the feel of the parents are. That'll be going out fairly soon. Also, this week, Tina, when was the interviews?
They were on the 19th. I'm sorry. 19th. You could go tonight.
Okay, and we had 3 great candidate finalists. I think that whoever Dr. Thornton finally puts forward to the school committee will be very good at this. So.
Mr. Duffy.
That wasn't that one. I just wanted to mention the change in the SATs that's happened over the summer. So this is the last spring that our students will have the current SAT format. So they can still take it again in the fall, but it's going to completely change as far as the scoring. The writing section is going to be optional as well. So for those students who are on the fence if they should take it now or later,
Just want to make sure that they're aware that it's going to completely change in 12 months. And even if you're an underclassman, you can still take the SAT and have that grade still scored as well. And on that note, I think I would also ask us as a committee, or maybe Principal Torero, to look into, because we do the PSAT, because I know that they already have that practice stuff out, that we might want to also look into how we're going to continue that, or if we're going to stay with that or migrate over to the ACT, because currently right now there's more students taking the ACT than the PSAT. I think it was last year, within the last 12 months, there's now more students in the United States taking the ACT than the SAT. So it just might be something we might want to look at. If more students are migrating to that, we might want to look into that as opposed to doing the SAT. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, hearing none. Mr. Figueroa?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Duffy. All those in favor? Those opposed? And we are adjourned at